I could start in a second here. Just have a few more people getting on.
My live stream. That's okay. Thanks. I did.
Okay, good evening and welcome to the June 14th Board of Aldermen meeting. I call this meeting to order. And as always, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'll ask people to stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with
Liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I would ask our city clerk to do a roll call.
Alderman Allen,
Here.
Alderman Even,
Here.
Alderman Holman,
Here.
Alderman Hughes,
Here.
Alderman Perot,
Here.
Alderman Weezahan,
Here.
and Alderman Whitmire.
Here.
I have Alderman Mortland as absent, Mayor Ream is presiding, and we do have a quorum via video conference.
Thank you very much. Start with the minutes. I seek a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Alderman Holman, seconded by Alderman Whitmire and Weezahan. Any discussion, any amendment? And all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, and anyone opposed? Okay, passes unanimous. Thank you. I think the next item on the agenda is I will ask the city clerk to enter any records or recognize anyone who has been wishing to speak to the board.
We have one person sign up to speak. It's Lindsay Butler. I don't see her on my screen, so if Morgan, you could just confirm she has not joined the meeting. And I guess let the mayor know if she joins at a later time.
Yeah, Morgan has told me that she has not joined, but my thought would be if she joins later, we'll afford her the usual customary 3 minutes if she joins later. That'd be fine.
That was the only speaker we had sign up.
Okay, thank you. And recognize the board's opportunity to provide reports. Any commission chairman wants to make a report, be happy to let them talk. Alderman Allen.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would like to report that the Ways and Means Commission will meet in 2 days on Wednesday, the 16th at 8:30 via Zoom, and the discussion will cover the Fire and EMS Task Force recommendations. Also, Mayor, if I could comment that your presence and the presence of your wife, Debbie, along with Chief Cavens, Lieutenant Flanagan, and Officer Cook, and Alderman Perot was very much appreciated and enjoyed on a rainy middle of the day here at Mason Point for the Memorial Day party and celebration. It initially was going to be outside, but there was a great decision to bring it in. And I know the residents here in Mason Point and Ward 4 very much appreciated you all spending time to be present. It was very nice.
Well, it was certainly our pleasure, and I would think Chief Caven's pleasure also. And it was kind of amazing the number of your residents who are veterans. It was just a very special day, and thank you for the invite.
Thank you.
Alderman Whitmire.
Mayor, just wanted to let everyone know, planning and zoning will meet on June 16th, which is Wednesday at 6:30 PM.
Is the 6:30 the working session? The meeting starts at 7, or does the meeting start itself at 6:30?
Well, I'm the new guy. I think
Okay.
there is a planning session at 6:30 and the meeting probably starts at 7,
Well, I look forward to it. I look forward.
but I could be wrong.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Alderman Perot.
Thank you, Mayor. The Conservation Commission met today. We have several nominations for Golden Thumb Awards, and so we're starting the review process.
That's great. I'd like to, when you review, I wouldn't mind being involved in some of that. Just let me see some of that also. I think that would be great. I'm glad we're doing that. Thank
Be
you.
glad to.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Yes. I'm
it's
sorry.
Alderman Hughes.
Oh, yeah. Alderman Hughes, sorry. I'm a little slow
Yes.
sometimes on the screen.
I just want to let you know that my husband and I attended the concert Friday night, and I received only very positive comments from residents.
Oh,
I
that's
had
great.
a group of gentlemen that I was talking to, and they only had very nice, positive things to say. It was a nice evening.
Oh, great. Great. And was it well attended? We couldn't make it that night, but how was the crowd?
I actually thought it was pretty good considering how hot and uncomfortable it was out there. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it was great. And then it cooled off as it got, a little, as the evening went on, but only everybody seemed to be really enjoying themselves. So,
Okay. Well, good. Thanks for the update.
Mhm.
And Mr. Shelton, do you have a report?
Not this evening, thank you.
Okay, great. And next we have.
Mayor,
Oh,
I'm sorry, on my screen, I see Alderman Holman and Alderman Weezahan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Alderman Weezahan.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to give an update. We had Parks and Trails hosted a playground master plan open house. The second one, it was pretty well attended, a lot of input, and we're asking that if anybody has any additional feedback or hasn't had a chance to give any feedback, to check out the main website, the Town and Country site. There's a link on the homepage to fill out additional information for the survey. And there's also information on that survey of feedback that we've received so far.
Yeah, well, thank you. When I was there, I thought there was a lot of engaged people who were very interested. So it was, I think that was a big success. And Alderman Holman, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor.
Go ahead.
4:30 via Zoom.
I-
Could you hear
Alderman
me?
Holman, would you repeat that? Because only the
Please.
last part came out that I could hear.
Oh, okay. Can you guys hear me now?
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Poor connection on my end. So the Public Works Commission did not meet in the month of June. We will meet in July, the third Monday of the month. And as I'm saying that we're going to meet via Zoom at 4:30, Mr. Randick, is that an accurate statement? Or are we going to go for our first live meeting since I've been on the commission? First live meeting? Okay, so we will have our first live meeting in July.
That's
We
great.
will post the information as we get closer to that date.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Am I missing anybody else? Okay, thank you. Next, I'm going to recognize Lori Melton from the State Auditor's Office relative to the petition audit. And Ms. Melton, take it away.
Okay, I just want to double check that my sound is coming through before I,
Yes.
Okay,
Sound
good.
great.
Okay, we use a different meeting app with our office, so I wanted to check that. Thank you guys for letting us talk today. The purpose of us meeting with you is to introduce ourselves. I am Lori Melton. I am the audit manager for the petition audit. Tina Disney is also in attendance. She is our senior auditor on the audit. We wanted to introduce ourselves. We're going to explain the general procedures of the audit and then answer any questions that you guys may have. We were petitioned under section 29.230.2 of the revised Missouri statutes to perform an audit. And based on those statutes, 750 signatures were required. We received 840 valid signatures, which was verified by the St. Louis County Elections Board. So since that was above the amount required, we are required to perform an audit. The same statute states the auditor will bill the city for the costs of the audit. We only bill for actual costs incurred. We don't build in profit to that. We are estimating right now our costs to be between 100 and 135,000. This is what was on the petition document and on a letter that we have sent to the city informing you that we have a petition. So for sequence of events of our audit, it starts with a petitioner contact, and we have a conversation with petitioners. We even before the signatures go out, and so then we will also have another conversation. We have one planned actually for next Tuesday with the petitioners to discuss concerns that they have, and then we will plan our audit accordingly. Petitions or the concerns are confidential. City employees might be able to figure out the concerns based on the questions we ask, but we cannot come to you and say, this person has this concern, we need to follow up on it. We just ask the procedures on that. So we also have the entrance conference, which is this meeting. We started field work on May 26th. Bob Shelton was generous enough to let us go ahead and start asking questions to start the process, which has been very helpful. We expect the field work to take about 3 months. It'll be Tina on the job, and then we have 3 staff helping her, working with her. Once we are done with field work, they will hold a pre-exit meeting with the city staff. It will not be with the full board. We'll just do it with the city staff and go over all of our findings and discuss all of them, talk about any causes to the findings and any questions or concerns we have of the findings at that point in time, the recommendations. Then we'll prepare a draft of the report, and the draft will go through several levels of review, and then we'll hold an exit conference, and that will be a meeting with you guys as the board. That is a closed meeting. It's allowed under the Sunshine Law under section 17 to be closed. And at that point, we present to you the written report, and you will provide us responses, and you'll again have a time to ask questions, and we want to ensure the accuracy of the report at that time. Then after we have the responses, it'll be a couple more weeks after that, we will have a delivery of the report, and we may have a public delivery. We don't know at this time. That is something that is scheduled by the executive staff in our office after the exit. So the entire process, we have about 3 months we're expecting of field work. After field work to report issuance is going to be another couple of months. So the entire process takes several months. And we just want to make sure that everybody is aware of that going in, that it's not a report that you'll have at the next meeting. So we're concentrating on the most recently completed fiscal year, which was year end 12/31/20. Now that's the scope for an investigation of the concerns. We mainly focus on 20, but we're not limited to that. So we may look at issues that are more than a couple of years old. If they are still going on currently, we may need to go back in time to where they began. We will also look at procedures from the end of the fiscal year to the current. Something a lot of people have questions on is what we look at. Like I said before, we look at the concerns that are brought to us. We also survey the city and look at all the city's departments to determine if there are risks that are audit risks that we see that were not identified by the petitioners. So we may look at more than just what is brought to us. And we may, in that process, also have petitioner concerns that we look at that we don't need to research further. So it's auditor judgment at that point of what we look into closely. So this is not a financial statement audit, but we do some financial related work. So we don't give an opinion on the financial statements, and it doesn't replace your financial statement audit. We do general compliance work such as budget, contracting, sunshine law. And then we talked about we have received concerns from the petitioners. I told you that we're meeting with the petitioners again next week. If there is anyone that is in attendance or watching this, or if anybody comes to you and says that they have concerns, there is a hotline form on our website that somebody can fill out to provide concerns to us. Our website is auditor.mo.gov. And on that website, you can there's an 800 number to call us for our hotline. And then you could send an email to moaudit@auditor.mo.gov. So those are the methods that somebody could contact us if they want to talk to us confidentially about concerns that they have. And the entire audit process is confidential until the report is delivered. So what that means is that if we're presented with concerns from citizens, we don't go back to the citizens and say, okay, this is what we found for your concern. The report is what is public. And so we can guarantee to the citizens that we have considered their concerns. And if it is something that results in an audit finding that we make a recommendation about, it will be public in the report in the end. And so then if there was not a recommendation necessary, then it won't be in the report, but we did consider it. And then I did just want to point out that we have to have an oath and to keep information confidential. RISMO 29.080 does require us to keep information confidential. And so that's why it's so important to us, that process. So does anybody have any questions about the process or anything that we've presented so far?
Actually, I've got a couple if I could, then
Okay.
Alderman Whitmire, I'll get to you, but a couple of thoughts I had or questions is that I couldn't help but notice on the news last night that the St. Louis County Council was not sure where the $173 million that the county supervisor dispersed in terms of relief dollars, and that they were asking the governor to ask the state auditor's office to do an audit of where that $173 million went. Now, I don't know if the governor is going to do that or not, but one of my questions was if that happens, that's a lot of money. That's a big priority type of thing. Would that mean that our issues or the petition here, would that affect the timing on our petition if all of a sudden a lot of the state resources are suddenly funneled to this very large audit? So I was just curious how that affects potentially.
So your audit is in process now. We have begun it. So we are dedicated to performing it, barring us suddenly losing staff of people resigning. I don't anticipate our staff changing. And so they're dedicated to this. That should not affect us.
Okay. A second question I had is the meeting, which I think is Tuesday with the petitioners, was that, I'm just more out of curiosity, was that something the petitioners asked to meet with the state auditors, or was that the state auditors needed to meet with the petitioners? I was just
So
curious.
it's done on most audits, on most petition audits, that we'll reach out to the petitioners and say, we're aware of your concerns. Are there additional individuals that would like to meet with us? And then on every audit, it's a little bit different, but we give the opportunity on every audit.
Okay. And is that open to the public, or is it just for the petitioner? I'm just asking.
I'm not going to have a list there of who signed it. So yes, it's open to the public.
Okay. And although and I trust that it is confidential, I believe that, but it would seem that in that meeting, which is open to the public, if accusations are made, and I know you won't be able to comment on that, but I would hope that, I'm encouraged by the fact that it sounds to me almost more like a 6 or 7 or 8 month time frame instead of what I initially heard was this was going to be an 18-month process. That I think for the sake of the people involved, we want a thorough audit, but the sooner we get a conclusion for our community, the better.
We were actually able to start this audit a lot sooner than we thought we were going to be able to, just based on the timing of when it came in.
Okay.
We just had this perfect slot for it to fit into. If it had come in a couple weeks later, we wouldn't have been able to get it started right away because of other obligations in the office.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering my questions. For other, Alderman Whitmire, do you have a
I
question?
did, before I did want to address you questioned if the petitioner meeting was a public meeting.
Right.
We will take steps so that people can present stuff to us. Some people don't want to present it in a public setting. Some things shouldn't be presented in a public setting. We will be there. It won't be a meeting like this that people will they can, but in general, it won't be that people are just talking. They can come to us and we can meet individually and take turns so that there can be confidential things
Great.
that are
I think
presented.
I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And they moved on me. Did you see a hand a second ago? Did someone else have a question? Sue Allen?
Alderman Allen, you want, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So it is a public meeting. Will it be recorded?
We are not taking means for that. We are not a political subdivision, so we don't have to have a quorum or anything like that.
So for us in the city, though, if we had a number of aldermen there, and if we had
If
a
you have a
quorum,
number of aldermen there, it becomes a board meeting and it is not my meeting anymore, or a petitioner meeting at that point. And so
we hear from the city clerk, who might have some insight on that.
Okay. I just want to note for the record, while we're on this subject and while I know we have members of the public listening to this, this is not a city meeting. This is not something that we're going to publish up or facilitate. This is a meeting of the auditors and the main petitioner. So you're not going to find a bunch of information about this on our website. It's not our meeting. So there will not be a Zoom meeting for it. There will not be a recording of it because we are not there. It's not our meeting. We will obviously make note that there could be a quorum there of the Board of Aldermen, but they will not conduct city business because it's not our meeting.
Okay.
So I just wanted to get that out there on the record.
And
While you're
so in that case, even though there's a quorum there, that wouldn't need, we wouldn't have to stop the meeting at that point or anything, according to your understanding.
or we wouldn't be told to leave if there's other.
I'm going to check with my legal counsel before Tuesday on that, and I will get back with either Mr. Shelton or Ms. McNamara about that. And
Great.
so they can pass it on to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any Alderman Whitmire?
So going back to the process regarding the exit conference, you said that it's a closed meeting with us. You'd provide a written report and then we would be able to provide responses or some kind of reaction or something. Two questions, is the written report, draft report provided to us in advance of that meeting, or is it just given to us at that meeting? And then if we're expected to reply in some way, do you expect those responses immediate during that meeting, or do we have, a day or two to get back to you or whatever? How does that work?
So usually the reports are provided ahead of time.
Okay.
There could be a timing issue, or if other concerns about the confidential nature of the report, it may be a limited distribution, but I don't anticipate, I just can't anticipate that ahead of time.
Understand.
Usually it is given ahead of time, and we just ask that you maintain its confidentiality for us until it is a public document. And then for providing responses, we do ask for, if you're able to provide them at that meeting, that's great. If not, we will discuss at that meeting what a reasonable time frame for you guys to prepare them is, what it will take for you to prepare the responses.
Great, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Good questions. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to recognize Christina Jacquin from Showalter and Jabori about the annual financial audit.
Good evening, members of the board and others present. So my name is Christina Jacquin. I'm with Showalter and Jabori. I was the audit manager for the city's annual external financial audit. So different from the state audit that we've just been talking about, this is the financial audit. We performed an audit of the city's financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2020. On page 1 of the annual financial report, which was previously referred to as a CAFR, they've changed the acronym this year. I think we're going with annual financial report for now. Anyway, on page 1, you will find our independent auditor's report on the city's financial statements. And this is the report that we give our auditor's opinion on the financial statements. For 2020, in our opinion, the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles. Due to the continuing, ongoing, significant local, global, national impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have included an emphasis of matter paragraph in our opinion that refers readers to footnote 9 of the financial statements, which discusses the pandemic. I wanted to point out that the inclusion of this paragraph does not change our auditor's opinion in any way. With regard to the December 31st, 2020 financial highlights, the city ended the year with a total governmental fund balance of approximately $13 million. And of that amount, approximately $8 million is unassigned. The total net position of governmental activities at December 31st, 2020 is approximately $51 million. Of that amount, unrestricted net position was approximately $5 million. For 2020, we also performed a single audit in accordance with the uniform guidance. A single audit is larger in scope than a regular financial statement audit and is required when an entity spends more than $750,000 in federal awards in a year. We audited the Coronavirus Relief Fund program as the major program in accordance with applicable standards and noted no findings or internal control deficiencies. In addition to financial statements, we also issued a report on internal control, related matters, and advisory comments, where we give suggestions for improving internal control and operating efficiency. Finally, we issued a report titled Report to the Board of Aldermen. This is a required communication by the auditor to those charged with governance at the conclusion of the audit. Finally, I would like to thank Mr. Shelton, Ms. Wright, and their staff for the many courtesies extended to us during our audit. And at this time, I would be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you very much. Anyone have questions? Okay. Alderman Whitmire.
As usual.
It's all right. It's all right.
I just going back to the internal control points. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to emphasize for us, Christina?
I would actually like to emphasize that in the prior year, we had noted a significant deficiency in internal control over some segregation of duties matters. And the city took extensive steps to mitigate those issues. So we did not repeat that comment for this year. So the remainder of our letter for the current year is just suggestions for the city to consider. So nothing that you would consider to be a finding. And I think I've met with the Ways and Means Commission earlier this month, and I've met with management, and I believe there's some good steps in place to address some of the remaining suggestions. So I think, we were very happy with the steps that the city's taken over the last year.
Good.
Thank you. Other questions? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you very much, Christina.
Thank you.
Thank you. Under unfinished business, number 1, bill number 2120, sponsored by Alderman Weezahan. Without objection, would the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2120 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing an amended conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a pavilion originally granted by ordinance number 4362, located at 23 Brookwood Road in the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. Seek a motion to approve in a second.
So moved.
All right, Alderman Weazahan, a second.
Second.
A second by Alderman Even. And any discussion or amendment? I would ask the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Weazahan,
Aye.
Alderman Hughes,
Aye.
Alderman Even,
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
Aye.
Alderman Perot,
Aye.
Alderman Whitmire,
Aye.
and Alderman Holman.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4434.
Thank you. Number two, bill number 2121, basically sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2121 is an ordinance authorizing a professional services agreement with HR Green Inc. for consultant services related to the 2021 Stormwater Program study and prioritization.
And I seek a motion to approve and a second.
So moved.
Motion.
Alderman Holman and seconded by Alderman Perot. Any discussion or amendment? Alderman Whitmire.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I was wondering, I certainly respect the idea of continuity of services for professional services. At the same time, just wanted to talk about how we know that the fees for this work are competitive.
I think Mr. Shelton can answer that pretty well for us.
Yeah, so Alderman Whitmire, you're exactly correct. These projects are awarded based on professional qualifications, but when this was originally bid, after they're selected, the price is determined, and we do compare relative cost for engineering services. We're well aware of what engineering costs, and these are definitely within those ranges.
Thank you.
And ask the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Holman,
Aye.
Alderman Perot,
Aye.
Alderman Weazahan,
Aye.
Alderman Whitmire,
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
Aye.
Alderman Even,
Aye.
and Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4435.
Thank you. Next, number three is resolution number R07-2021. It's continued from 5/24. It's a resolution directing the establishment of a task force to honor veterans and first responders. I think we discussed this some in the work session. In terms of the going forward, I seek a motion to approve in a second.
To
So
approve.
moved.
By Alderman Perot and seconded by Alderman Allen. Any further discussion on this topic? Alderman Even.
Yes, so I would like to make a motion to continue this item. Since our last meeting, we discussed realigning some of the commissions. And I feel like it would be appropriate to wait until after that decision is made at our retreat next week in order to address this.
Alderman Allen, would you want to respond to that?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I did actually talk to every board member and had assumed that we would move forward, which was the reason for the prior we actually had 3 weeks. This is written in a way that regardless of any changes of commissions, this can move forward as written. I have actually.
I'm sorry, point of order. Did Alderman Even have a motion for continuance?
Yes, I did.
Would we need a second before discussion?
Mary, the city attorney can interrupt or go off mute at any point, but unless the motion is recognized by you as the presider, we keep on trucking. So you can.
Okay.
I'll recognize her. I'll recognize her
Well,
motion.
there should be a second and then discussion. I
Okay.
agree with Alderman Rizzo.
Okay,
Then I
so
guess.
just for the record, I'm saying I make a motion to continue this item to the next meeting after our retreat.
Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay.
So
And
so just for the record, we're saying the meeting of June 28th, the meeting immediately following the retreat.
Correct.
so let me ask the city clerk then on this. Do we vote on the amendment first or do we vote on the original resolution? How
Right now, the continuance motion is the only thing in front of the
Okay.
body, so they can discuss that. Then barring what happens with the continuance, if it fails, then you take back up the resolution as presented.
Any
So
further
my
discussion?
point in this, Mayor, is that given that the Arts Commission and these other commissions are, for lack of better words, lacking things to participate in, and this does technically fall under something that they would normally take on, I think that it would be in our best interest to decide what we're going to do with the commissions and then decide where this is appropriately placed from there. So it's not that I'm opposed to the idea. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's just, where does it appropriately fall? So we're using our commissions to the best of their abilities.
Can I respond to that, Mayor?
Sure.
Thank you. Say we vote on this and we have the next meeting is going to be the 28th, which is 5 days after the retreat. So there's nothing that says, this says these will be residents and share stakeholders and public servants that could be considered individuals on a commission would fall under those categories.
Yeah. My take on this is that Alderman Even makes a good point, but in general, I think that we should just, I would prefer just to have the task force get this going and not have this drag out like some other task force have in the past, and would like to just keep it moving. I see it from both sides, but I think what we've got set up relative to the task force, and as I said before in the work session, that this will be pretty much the last task force that I would endorse. Because I agree with Alderman Even. We want to try to keep most of the work inside the commissions. I think this is a special case. And I just assume we go forward as the resolution is written. So I guess at this point, we should, correct me if I'm wrong, City Clerk, we should, if there's no further discussion, have a vote relative to the amendment that Alderman Even suggested.
Sure.
And maybe instead of doing a voice vote, maybe we should just do a roll call.
Can I proceed?
Sure, yes, I'm sorry. And unless anybody else has any other discussion before we vote. Okay, go ahead.
Also, Mayor, before I proceed, I'll just say for the record too, that even if this gets established tonight, the board is not filling it at this point. So keep that in mind as well, that you wouldn't have members on it until well into July, and the board will take those members up too. So there's no people being appointed with this. You guys will take that up later as well. I just wanted to clarify, we're not talking about who actually is getting appointed to it at this point either.
But I would hope that at our next meeting, we would have those board members, whoever's going to be on the task force, to present to the board, then I really want this to continue to move forward directly.
So I have a question. How
Sure.
would that be any different if we fell underneath one of the commissions? Or if we decided to consolidate the commissions, how would this be any different? We're still going to be making a decision as to who's going to be, where those additional members are going to be placed if there is a consolidation. I'm just asking that we figure out what we're going to do with the commissions, if anything, and then continue this and vote on whether or not the task force would be established after our retreat so that we know what the future of those commissions hold. I just feel like, it's not fair to those people on those commissions. If they don't have enough projects to take care of, we're kind of taking something away from them if we're going to keep those established.
And I think it's a valid point. I mean, I do. I think it's a valid point. It just that I'm not sure exactly, because I think it's something we need to discuss at our meeting, what happens with the commissions. And like I said, maybe nothing, maybe we consolidate from 8 to 6. But in terms of all of that, then if they're restructured and then moving forward, my own opinion is that things will get delayed, and I just as soon keep moving forward on this project. That's just the way I look at it. And, but I mean, obviously you make valid points, but this is the way I'm looking at this. And that's why the preface was, as far as I'm concerned, this would probably be the last task force that I recommend, because I do want to keep things inside the commissions if at all possible.
Ready for me?
I'm ready for you. Oh, what, excuse me.
So-
Alderman
No, I was
Mizan.
just going to say, I was just thinking about what Alderman even said. I think I would continue. I agree with both sides. I do just want to at least say that I would support a continuance given the topic. I appreciate the idea of moving forward, but there also hasn't been, it doesn't seem like there's a sense of urgency. The timeline that I've heard was completing it in mid-November for the task force. So for what that's worth, I would support a continuance.
Alderman Whitmire.
Not sure exactly where I stand on this one at this point. I would just like to point out that two things. One, if you all agree during the meeting on Saturday to change things up, it will take quite some time to push that through the legislative process of the city and get those formed up. And secondly, that if you agree on Saturday that this really belongs to a certain group of people that happen to reside within a certain board, that could comprise the task force, so to speak. So just 2 points to think about.
The only correction I would make is I'm pretty sure the retreat's not on a Saturday.
I'm sorry. I'm not coming, so I don't know what day it is. It's a week from Saturday.
You had me worried there for a minute. I thought,
Yeah.
Saturday, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're making me nervous over here.
Now you undermined my whole argument.
Alderman Allen.
Okay, tongue in cheek, I did just a few minutes ago hear the mayor said he'd like to have this done by July 4th.
That was totally tongue in cheek. I think it should at least not before the 5th. But I think we're ready on all seriousness, because I guess I like this discussion. But City Clerk, why don't you call a roll call on this amendment?
And the motion before you is to continue this resolution to the meeting of June 28th. Alderman Even,
Aye.
Alderman Weezahan,
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
Nay.
Alderman Holman,
Nay.
Alderman Hughes,
Aye.
Alderman Perot,
Nay.
and Alderman Whitmire.
Nay.
It fails 4-3.
Thank you. But a great discussion, a great discussion. So at this point,
Oh,
I'm asking the City Clerk, do we now vote on the initial resolution?
Yes, so the resolution as written is currently before the body, so you'll want to ask for more discussion and or if there are any amendments to the current resolution.
Alderman Whitmire.
Yes, right now, the way the resolution is written, it refers to a dedicated location. I think this task force might end up identifying a couple of locations, one for first responders, one for veterans, or something to that effect. To me, right now, it's written in a fairly limited way. I would like to move to amend the resolution to make the word location plural in the fifth whereas statement. So it says location, parent, S parent.
I think that's reasonable. Alderman Allen, are you okay with that?
I am. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
maybe and considered as a friendly amendment adopted by her, and we don't have to vote on it? The clerk might answer.
Yes.
Nah.
No.
No?
But I would like to add, if Alderman Whitmire and Alderman Allen, as the first and second on that, you suggested the change should come to the fifth recital. And I would add that perhaps we add that same S in parentheses in section 2 in the actual action of the resolution.
I would
So
agree.
both occurrences of location will make the same amendment.
Yes.
And if I understand correctly, then we have a motion for that change, those two changes. First by Whitmire, second by Allen, and you're ready to take a voice vote.
Correct.
Thank you.
City Clerk, go ahead and take the voice vote. Voice vote. Thank you.
So for the double change to the word location, all in favor of that change can say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
So now, Maureen, you would be on the resolution still as amended.
And any other discussion? And we could have I think, an oral vote on that, a voice vote on that also. All in favor?
I'm
Right.
sorry.
I'm sorry, Alderman Allen, go ahead.
I just make a comment for the record. So basically, for the record, I do would like for the task force to have frequent reporting back to the board, to possible if to the commissions, if there should be individuals on the task force on some various commissions, that there would be timelines established. Actually, we do have board meetings in November, on November the 8th and the 22nd. And initially I had talked and hoped to talk to individuals and hope that by November the 11th, around that time, that we would have a plan moving forward. And so I appreciate being able to make that comment, but I did want that in the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I think we can have the voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. New business, approval of a purchase order to T Hill Construction for 2712 Covington Place stormwater maintenance in the amount of $3,787. I seek a motion to approve in a second.
Mayor, I'm going to recuse myself, so I'll just black my screen temporarily.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I still looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, well, Alderman Meyer and second by Alderman Allen. Any discussion or amendment?
I just have a question, Mayor.
Certainly, Alderman Hughes.
Okay. When I'm looking at the difference between 3787 and 6459, why is there such a range there? Aren't they bidding on the same?
I would defer to the city manager, but I think it has to do to some degree
Yes.
with how far the house is back in terms of the pipes and the things and the time and the labor. Mr. Shelton,
Okay.
go ahead and answer that.
So, and Mr. Randa can correct me if I'm wrong, he's on here. I think the question
Okay.
is the disparity in the bid amounts for the same type of
Yes.
project.
I mean, there's a
All
range
depends-
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously that probably depends on the available workforce that each contractor has, the amount of
Okay.
work they're currently doing makes sometimes a more competitive bid. But they obviously detail out every bit
Yes.
of work and material.
Yes.
So we have absolutely no concern they're bidding all the appropriate work.
Okay. Because if I were having something done to my house, I would get bids, at least 3. And then I would say, wow, there's a discrepancy there and, quite a bit of difference. And what's causing that? So, okay,
Great. Well, thank you.
you've clarified somewhat. Yes, thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on, approval of a purchase order to Kelp, I don't know if it's pronounced Kelpie or Kelp Contracting for 14310 Manderley Woods Drive, stormwater maintenance in the amount of $4,433. Seek a motion to approve in a second.
So moved.
By Alderman Holman.
Second.
Second by Alderman Whitmire. Any discussion or amendment?
For the record, it is Kelpie Construction.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Next is approval of a purchase order to the Kansas Highway Patrol Fleet Sales for 2019 Dodge Charger police vehicles, the amount of $43,000. Which I think this is not the first time we've made some purchases from them. Seek a motion to approve in a second.
So moved.
Alderman Holman, second by Alderman Allen. Any discussion or amendment? Alderman Whitmire.
Mayor, I'd just like to commend the chief for once again taking action to reduce our costs by taking on some used vehicles. It's very helpful.
Okay, great. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Chief, I can't remember, but how many miles do these cars have on them roughly that we're getting?
Mr. Mayor, they'll both have just under 50,000. One's at 49.1, the other one's at 49.2.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number R08-2021, a resolution of the Board of Aldermen endorsing the vacation of right-of-way adjacent to the east side of the property. It's 2721 North Ballas Road in the city of Town and Country. That's the corner of Clayton and Ballas, the gas station there. I seek a motion to approve in a second.
So moved.
By Alderman Holman. Any second?
Second.
By
Second.
Alderman Allen. Any discussion or amendment? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is architectural review for REI located at Town and Country Crossing Drive. I seek a motion to approve in a second.
Motion approved.
Second.
Thank you. Approved by Alderman Perot, seconded by Alderman Hughes. Any discussion or amendment? Alderman Allen.
I just like to say that looks like a great addition to our city.
I concur. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. That motion passes. The next one is the approval of the annual liquor licenses. And I think you got a distributed list, I believe. I would like to do this just as whole as opposed to going through each and every establishment, if that would be possible. I seek a motion to approve in a second.
And I'm going to recuse myself, please. I'll cover my screen.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right.
Make a motion to approve.
I forgot who, okay, thank you, Alderman Even, and a second?
Second.
Okay, Alderman Holman, thank you. Any discussion about this? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. The warrant list this month is $301,738.68. Seek a motion to approve in a second
So moved.
by Alderman Allen,
Second.
by Alderman Perot. Any discussion? Alderman Allen.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for Ms. Nixon about the Huddy painting for the sculptor, the Trova Art. I think Ms. Nixon is on.
Yes,
Okay, there you are. Okay.
we have
Thank you.
two Trova sculptures in the city, and so they needed to be repainted.
And do we own those or are those permanently here or I thought those were loaned?
We're under a lease agreement, and under the agreement, we're responsible for the maintenance.
And how often have we painted these before?
Not professionally, no.
And how long have we had them?
I don't know that off the top of my head. I can get that date to you.
Okay, and do you know how often so we've had non-professional painting?
We
on
have
them?
done some touch up. It did not look very good. And we learned from St. Louis County that there's a particular painting process. So I believe we've had them about 5 years.
And how long do we expect this professional job to last?
It was done when they were installed, so I would expect 5 more years.
Okay, and how long will we have them?
Until we give them back to St. Louis County.
Oh, okay. And this is in the budget?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Just needed
Sure.
clarification.
Alderman Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm looking under the bag spot pest waste solutions. And I know that there was an anonymous gift to take care of those pet waste bags. Anyway, is there we're purchasing more at this point? Do we need another anonymous donor to come forward with this?
We love anonymous donors. But I don't know if there's another one coming forward or not.
There could be.
There
Mhm.
could be. There
Yeah,
could-
I could, yeah, I think so. I could
Okay.
find an anonymous donor to do that.
We would appreciate it. The city would.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll have that person get that anonymous gift into you promptly, okay?
Thank you very much.
That's okay. Just wanted to check and see.
Sure. Thank you. Alderman Whitmire.
2 questions. One around A. Eilers. Wondering if that's a final payment or if that's a progress payment. And if it's a progress payment, does it line up with the work that's been done? And then secondly, around Sweetens and the concrete ceiling project, I think that's what that was for. I'm running from memory here, which is always dangerous if as we've seen. Wondering if that's complete and if that's been inspected.
I think the answer is yes, but I'm going to let Mr. Shelton answer that for sure.
Yes, to both. The A. Eilers is a progress payment, and they have made all the progress to and certified that all their bills have been paid prior to that. So they're not complete, and that is not complete payment yet. Sweetens, the staff did inspect all of their work. That is a final payment. And they did correct some items that needed to be done from a prior job. So all work is up to snuff.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Under other business, just a couple things, just to kind of remember, I'm sure you do remember that in July, we will be back to meeting in person, and I look forward to that. The newsletter is coming out tomorrow. And finally, 2 previous aldermen, Lindsay Butler and Matt Reuter, I don't think ever got a proclamation thanking them for their service. So I've had them each made up for them. That will we will mail out to them. I just wanted you to be aware, but I think Mr. Benegas has had that done already, and Mayor Dalton did for his long service. But we will get those proclamations out to Butler and Mr. Reuter, just because for their service. I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. Any other topics that anybody wants to bring up? Ms. McNamara.
I just want to confirm, if you could ask Morgan that Lindsay Butler, having previously signed up to speak.
Yeah.
Ms. McNamara, we received an email from her regarding tonight's meeting and unable to be able to make it. And she asked that that email be read as part of the minutes, and it was also copied to you as well.
I'm good with it. As long as it's under 3 minutes, I'm good. We could go ahead and read it into the minutes. I'm fine with that.
Okay, hold on. I'll have to pause my Zoom to.
Does somebody have that email that they can read?
I have it here if you'd like me to read it out loud.
Go ahead.
I don't have it.
Okay, it says, Dear Mayor Ream, residents and board members, tonight you're receiving an update on the state audit of Town and Country. The state auditor's audit has begun, and the public is encouraged to come and give input, comments, information, or to ask questions at the public meeting being held on Tuesday, June 22nd, starting at 4:30 p.m. at the Longview Farmhouse. Examples of findings found from other state audits, including St. Louis County, include insufficient accountability and transparency, inadequate financial controls, employees without necessary licensure, lack of competitive bidding for city projects, purchases, and services, nepotism, improper spending of restricted funds on general fund activities, weak oversight, lack of control or enforcement code, unequal treatment of residents, special treatment of residents who give to political friends, political leaders soliciting funds for city project from businesses with projects before the city projects given to developers with financial ties to elected officials, financial recommendations and decisions made with oversight, lack of oversight of budgets and approval of budgets without specific plans for the public money to be used. Goes on to say, if you have information or concerns regarding any of the above or other issues, please submit at the public meeting or anonymously online. The Missouri State Auditor's Office will be present to hear and retain complaints, issues, documents, and questions regarding the current petition-initiated state audit of the city of Town and Country. All are welcome. This is open to the public. And I believe the state auditor gave the website, but she listed it here as well.
Thank you.
Just while we're still on the record too, that email was already submitted to the Board of Aldermen as a whole and the Ways and Means Commission as a whole.
And again, those findings, for the record, were findings that were found in other audits, but are not specifically been found in our city. Is that correct?
That's what she states here.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Any other thoughts? Our business. If not, I would seek a motion to adjourn and a second.
So moved.
Okay, by Alan and second by Holly. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.